is Greg Crowe, and I am the president and CEO of Silver One Resources, trading on three exchanges: the Toronto Stock Exchange, the New York OTCQX Exchange, and the Frankfurt Exchange.
Greg, good to have you on the channel. First time we've met or spoken, so we're going to learn a little bit about what you've got going on there at Silver One. Can we start with you, though? What's your background? What have you done relevant to what you're planning to do here?
Yeah, sure, Matthew. My background is I'm technical. I have done 2 degrees in geology, and I've worked in the industry both with major companies and junior companies for the past 30 to 35 years. Most of my more recent experience has been previously with a company called Entrée Gold, which was in joint venture with Ivanhoe Mines and then Rio Tinto, helping to develop the Oyu Tolgoi deposit in Mongolia. I left there in 2015, retired, and I didn't last long in the retirement circuit, and I was called back to duty to become the president and CEO of a new company called Silver One Resources back in 2016.
2016, they never let you retire, Greg.
I'm gathering.
Right. Okay. We get you. Okay. You're kind of hitting the timing right in terms of silver. It's back in vogue. Industrial usage is finally believable, and the price is right at the moment. It seems so. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the assets that you've got, and then I'll try and maybe kind of have a little wander around and see what you're doing there.
Yeah, sure. When we started the company, we kind of did shall we say, a deal with a group called First Mining Finance, which is one of Keith Neumeyer's subsidiary companies, and we acquired 3 Mexican silver assets. But since that time, we decided that we needed something closer to development, and we ended up doing a deal with Silver Standard, now SSR Mining, on a past producing silver mine in Nevada called the Candelaria Past Producing Silver Mine. Subsequent to that, we picked up a couple of other silver properties. One that we're really focusing on is called Phoenix Silver in Arizona, and it has opportunity for an extremely high-grade silver-style deposit, but also, interestingly, has porphyry copper potential, which is also very additive to that property.
And topical. Absolutely at the moment. What's happened with the Mexican assets? Have you offloaded those, or are they still in the portfolio?
No, we offloaded those about 3 years ago. We didn't see the point of holding on to them just for spending more money when we really wanted to focus on the Southwest U.S.
Yeah, and I obviously think what's happened in Mexico the last 3 years probably makes you made the right call there. Okay, so doing business in the U.S., Nevada, Arizona, kind of usually highly ranked by the Fraser Institute, but what's the reality on the ground?
Well, the reality is very good, actually. In Nevada, we have a combination of patented, which are private claims, and BLM claims. But the BLM offices that we're dealing with are very, very pro, shall we say, mining, and very helpful in terms of getting permits, etc., and very cooperative. Down in Arizona, we're dealing with the forestry division, but again, we're in one of the biggest mining areas of Arizona. It's called Globe Miami area, and we have a very good group there in the forestry office that's helping us with permits as well.
Right. Okay. So we've got Candelaria, Phoenix, and Cherokee. How are you getting after these? Obviously, I think Candelaria, you know a little bit more about what you've got there. Is that the focus?
Yeah. Well, we have really 2 focuses, shall we say. The third focus, which is the Cherokee project in eastern Nevada, we've kind of put it off to the side for a while because we want to concentrate on first Candelaria, which is a past producing silver mine. It's probably the closest to development at this stage. However, Phoenix Silver in Arizona is an extremely high-grade silver opportunity. And as I said, it also has porphyry copper potential. But the thing with that project is we are now permitted for a drill program. We're funded for a drill program. We're just waiting for the heat of the summer to pass so we can get in there and do the drill program. If we are successful in outlining this high-grade mineralization, then I think that could make that almost a number one priority in our advancement of the company.
Okay, interesting. So it's not a case of having two favorite children. It's a case of what's going to give you, the best response in the market. And what is it about Phoenix? And so is it going to copy copper porphyry component to this, which is making everyone excited, or do you think genuinely see the best value creation from that project? I mean, how do you view it?
It depends on what investors you're dealing with. Some investors love copper. Some investors love silver. The beauty of Phoenix Silver is we have uncovered huge silver vein fragments just below the surface that we think are very, very close to the source. And we've targeted what we believe to be the source with this drill program. Some of those vein fragments are returning values up to 459,000 grams per ton silver, which is unheard of. If we can find any quantity of those high-grade silver in veins, then essentially that could reprioritize our agenda with respect to the development of the two different projects. The porphyry copper aspect, we're in a 40 plus kilometer long trend of porphyry copper mines. We've got the Miami complex just southwest of us, almost adjacent to us. That's Freeport McMoRan actually processing copper. We've got Rio Tinto, BHP, developing the Resolution deposit. We've got the Carlotta deposit of KGHM. We've got Pinto of Capstone. We've got a brand new discovery by BHP just off our southeast corner of our claims and trending right onto our property. And on our property in the southern part, we're getting multiple copper values greater than 1% copper at surface. So we've got both components to develop, and we're going to be working on that in the next several months.
Right, but is there a kind of simplicity to Phoenix, which you're attracted to? Because you said at the beginning, let's face it, Candelaria is significantly more advanced. It's a start producer. I'm not quite sure, what you own today in terms of existing infrastructure, etc. But is that kind of level of complexity putting you off, or is there some way of monetizing that? So why are you saying Phoenix Silver is the number one target?
Candelaria is still the number one target. Phoenix becomes the number one target if we are successful in finding the source of this extremely high-grade mineralization. So, right. But we still have Candelaria. So what's a Candelaria that's so attractive? Well, first of all, it's a past producer, produced over 68 million ounces of silver. Kinross was the last big company that produced there in 97. The only reason they shut down was because silver prices collapsed well below $5 per ounce. So they turned it over to Silver Standard, and Silver Standard got busy doing other things, and we did a deal with Silver Standard in 2017. We now have 100% ownership. 2 big open pits, 2 big heap leach pads, good sizable historic resource, and we also have resources on the heap leach pads. We're currently conducting metallurgical testing. We have gone into partnership with a group called Extract, which is in association with the big engineering group called Bechtel, and they've developed some proprietary solutions that seem to be working better than classic cyanide in terms of extracting silver from these old heap leach pads. So we're doing another round of metallurgical testing on the heap leach material and on the fresh material marginal to the pits. Once we get all that done, which is probably later this year, early next year, we'll put out an updated resource on the project, and we will also put out an economic study. Now, the beauty of Candelaria as well, from a permitting viewpoint, is the permits from Kinross are still valid because they never fully reclaimed the project. And we've had discussions with both the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, and the Nevada Department of Environmental Protection. And what they're telling us is once we get them a plan of operation, they will update those permits within a matter of months, not years. And many of these projects could take 5, 10, 20 years to
Right. So you focus on the network at the moment. I understand why. What's the end game here? Or how do you view Candelaria? Is this something, a means of generating cash flow to advance other projects, or can you scale this thing up?
Both.
What? Both. Okay. Right.
Both. I mean, you certainly want to be able to finance your other projects without going back to the market and continuing to dilute your shareholders, by all means. But also, Candelaria can be scaled up. Not only are there the two big heap leach pads, but there's also a lot of mineralization that we've drilled off marginal to the two big open pits and between the two big open pits that has never been extracted. And we can bring that into production, and further down deeper, it goes into sulfide mineralization. And that's never been totally quantified as to how much sulfide mineralization. So we can look at something that might start out as a 5 to 8 year project, but it could expand very rapidly into a 10 to 20 year to 30 year type project. And we will see. All that is conjecture at this point, until we get our met work done and our economic study done.
Right. And what type of economic study will it be? What level?
Well, at this stage, there's two components. There's the heap leach pads that have been extensively drilled, and we're doing that metallurgical testing. That could be a more advanced study like a pre-feas or even a feasibility, and that might be the starting point. And particularly with the increase in silver prices, the last time we looked at a back of the envelope, silver prices were $12, $13. Now they're $30+. And on top of that, with these new proprietary solutions that Extract and Bechtel are doing the testing on, we might be able to double the recoveries from what we originally looked at back in 2018. So that's very, very encouraging. And but the fresh material might be more at the PEA pre-feasibility study. But we might with the heaps first, okay?
Okay, so let's look at the kind of near-term revenue thing, because I think what we've seen over the past couple of years, after post-COVID, is the change of business plan, business model, get into revenue quicker, like the Australians, have always favored, right? So with the heap leach, in terms of what it's going to cost for you to actually be able to get up into production, and the timeline to get up into production, to do what you say is a kind of a very anti-dilutory move, where you want to use that money that you generate initially to come develop out the company, do the exploration, expand the life of mine, all of those good things. How quickly can you move through the phases with the heap leach project?
Well, I would prefer to answer that when we've got some more data at the end of the year. But, if we moved extremely rapidly and everything fell into place, we might be able to move fast on that in 2 to 3 years. And
right. Okay.
It's just that, it takes time to finish your studies. Will the engineers, in their wisdom, decide that we need to do more drilling or more testing? These are questions which I can't answer at this stage. Are we going to have to submit a different plan for operation with these new solutions? I don't think so, because I think these solutions, if they work out, pan out, are far better than using classic cyanide leaching techniques, which are much more harmful to the environment.
Right, and I guess the other aspect of the heap leach is that a kind of low capex, low opex nature of them as well. That kind of helps with a company of your size, sub $100 million type level. And with regards to some of the drilling and some of the data, historic or otherwise, that you've got, when you look at Candelaria specifically, when you look at that project right now, can you see how it can evolve? Can you see how it moves from 7-8 years to 15 to 20 years? Do you know the process?
Yeah, sure. If you start with just the heaps, okay, and that would be a lower capex. And what the number is right now, I don't know. As I said, we need to get our economic study completed, but that would be essentially a 5 to 8 year program. Okay. Now, if you start expanding the fresh in situ mineralization marginal to the pits, that can scale it up to maybe, guessing, 15 years. If we drill and find additional mineralization, that can go into 20, 25 years. I don't know. These are just speculation at this time. But we see great potential to expand the size of this deposit as time goes on. And if we can stage it properly, it'll be a lower capex, get some revenue, and help finance that. We also have groups that have already approached us about things like offtake agreements, royalties, debt financing, and we haven't even got an economic study out yet. So there's lots of avenues for it.
Good time to be in silver, as I say. Right, so there's a fair bit of diamond RC drill data already from 2020 to 2022. In terms of the money that you've just raised, just shy of $6 million, how are you allocating that when it comes to Candelaria, and what is that money getting spent on?
Yeah, sure. We're probably putting in just shy of $1 million on all of the metallurgical work and the studies that need to be done. As I said, they should be coming out towards the end of this year into early next year, just depending on how fast those engineers can get the work done. And then on top of that, at Phoenix Silver, the drill program itself is about $1.5 million that we plan on doing. That includes all the assay work, the geologists, etc. We also plan on flying a airborne geophysical survey over Phoenix Silver, trying to identify are there alteration systems that could host potential porphyry copper, particularly on the southern part of the property. That's another $500,000 there. And then Cherokee, we might do a little bit of more sampling to better define some targets. We've had some interest in Candelaria. People have Cherokee. People have approached us about possibly doing some sort of joint agreement on Cherokee. We haven't decided yet because we want to maybe advance it a little bit more before we enter into a decision like that. But so and then our G&A, we've got a good year to 2 years worth of finances right now, just depending on how much we want to spend. If we suddenly intersect something very exciting at Phoenix Silver, we might want to do a bit more work. Or Candelaria, we might want to move faster, in which case then that might change that scenario.
Right. Let's talk about the makeup of the team here and what they're comfortable doing. Some people are like, we're geologists, that's what we do. We'll only take it so far, and then we'll JV, or we'll, think of alternative financing, whether that be royalties or offtakes or whatever. What's the makeup of your team, and so what's your expertise?
Yeah, my expertise, as I said, is geology. So I do have a technical. My strength essentially is piecing together, shall we say, good projects and advancing them through exploration. That's my expertise. I'm not a miner. I'm not a process operator. I'm not a mining engineer. But we do have on board a fellow by the name of Ken Enquist, who is a mining engineer. And he's worked with groups called Western Copper, First Mining Finance, etc. He's on board. He's helping to advise us. We've got an excellent VP of Exploration, Raul Diaz. He spent 25, 30 years with Peñoles, also ran their Peruvian office. He's now an American citizen, and he runs all of our exploration down there. When we make the step or transition to a development company, then by all means we'll bring somebody on who essentially can guide that. Right now, that's not my expertise. And, the same thing happened in my previous stint with Entre Gold. We had no problems in doing deals with Ivanhoe Mines and then Rio Tinto. And Rio Tinto certainly has the expertise to put things into production.
Right. So you sounds like you're comfortable with your kind of cash position at the moment in terms of the G&A and running costs.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah. But I'm trying to understand the sort of where the growth is going to come from, and I think I've got a sense of how you're planning that. In terms of the kind of scale of the ambition, it's always been difficult with silver in the sense it's been quite an erratic behaving metal. However, I kind of guess this move to the industrial usage or increased industrial usage is maybe smoothing some of those curves potentially. You must be conscious of that as you plan out your activity.
We certainly look at that a lot. And just to put it into perspective, as you can think about, when Candelaria was in production, you're looking at silver prices, in the single digits, okay? And then subsequent years after that, in the 2000s, it's kind of hovered in the teens. You had spikes to $40, $50, but there are short-term spikes. The last one was 2012. Recently, we've seen it level off in the 20s. And very recently, we've seen it go off in the 30s. Is it not going to be sustained? We have some people in the industry predicting triple-digit silver. Yeah, I believe that could be true, but I'll be happy with staying at $30, $35, $40 silver would be perfect from our perspective. So we keep that in mind as we're looking at timing of development. And if we can move quickly enough, I think we can capitalize on that. One big new usage for silver, which a lot of people kind of haven't quite hit on yet, is artificial intelligence. All of the computing devoted to artificial intelligence, silver is used extensively, not only in electric vehicles, which is phenomenal, but also in solar panels, which is expanding exponentially. The world's currently mining 850 million ounces of silver per year, but we're consuming 1.2 billion. Part of that's made up by recycling, etc. But we're still shy 200 to 250 million ounces deficit every year. How is that going to be made up without new mines coming into production?
Well, they're not. Simplest question I've had today. No. Right. Okay. Well, look, I think that's a really kind of good overview of how you're coming at this. Just in terms of coming back to that kind of ambition or aggression for, do you see more opportunities for picking up projects in the US? Because, like I say, silver mines have not had the love that for a long time. Things are picking up now. Are there projects that can be picked up cheaply in the US?
We keep our eyes open. We've reviewed several projects in the past numerous months, shall we say, and I guess two of the big hurdles with respect to projects are they're either not advanced for our taste. We have enough exploration work to do. We don't need to get more exploration projects. Or if they are more advanced, then shall we say the wishes of the group that we're dealing with might be a little higher, or the expectations are a little higher than we wish to enter into. When we entered into the agreement to acquire the Candelaria project, the timing was perfect for us. We had a company called Silver Standard. They were completely rebranding their company, merging with LSR and becoming SSR Mining. They were focusing on gold and they were getting rid of all their old silver assets. We got Candelaria for 3 million shares of Silver One, that's US dollars, plus putting down a $2.5 million reclamation bond on one of the big heap leach pads, which we completed in 2023. We now have 100% no royalties back to Silver Standard. So that kind of spoiled us with respect to doing really good deals, shall we say, and we're not finding those types of deals out there right now. But the last couple of years have been a little hard on junior resource companies. Some of them are on their knees. And so we'll keep our eyes open, and we're always looking.
Okay. And for the next 12 months, what are we looking for? What are the things that you think are really important?
In terms of, you mean with respect to how we are developing, what are...
Well, I tell you, it's a question I ask a lot, and management teams talk about, I've got this catalyst and that catalyst, and quite frankly, 90% of them don't really matter. They're just moments in time that come and go. With your experience, pre being dragged out of retirement, is you would have known what things are actually going to make a difference to a project and what's going to make a difference to the markets. I'm just wanting you to point at those for me.
Sure. One of the biggest factors we have to watch is what's the silver price going to be? What's the silver demand? What's happening in the U.S. election? Is that going to upset things a little bit or make it easier for us to work, depending upon the outcome? For instance, certain party in the U.S. is very pro-environmental, and they want to tighten things. The other party is, well, let's tear everything down and open it up to whatever you want to do. Those are the two extremes. So they both lie somewhere in between. So we watch that one as well. But what we like is Nevada, Arizona, two big mining jurisdictions. We're in active areas that are very pro-mining. We're dealing with pro-mining offices, both the BLM and the forestry. So we're very happy with that. The other things that we're happy about, you talked about, what are going to be our catalysts coming up? Well, we're going to have a drill program on Phoenix Silver. If we intersect there, anything near the values that we have taken up or achieved on surface, then by all means, that could be a very good catalyst for our company. We plan to be in there as soon as the weather starts cooling, probably September, October. We also hope to get some good results out of our metallurgical work at Candelaria. With that, move forward to our resource update economic study. If we can outline some good copper targets on the south part of Phoenix Silver with our airborne survey and additional sampling, that just might attract a partner to develop the porphyry copper site. One doesn't know, but these are things we're looking for.
You got to be in the game to play the game. So, Greg, I appreciate you making time to speak to us today. Another interesting silver story for us to look at. Stay in touch. We'll speak to you soon.
Okay, Matthew. Thank you very much.